Hey, welcome to another great week of On the Rodens. This week we left Cannon Beach, headed north, and we are on the Olympic Peninsula in Olympic National Park. Alright, so Olympic National Park is enormous. It takes up a huge swath of land, and we've actually got to drive 3 or 4 days to see this place. We're kind of starting at the south. We're going to work our way around it as we head towards Seattle. There's 4 distinct zones or climates in the Olympic National Park. There's the temperate rainforest, there is the beach, there's the lowland forest with like lakes and rivers, and there's also alpine or mountain areas. So we're going to check out all 4 of those areas during our trip.
Today we're at the, we don't really know how to call it, what to call it. It's either the Hoh Rainforest or the HOH Rainforest.
It's got to be Hoh. It's HOH. There's no way that they're going to say HOH.
We've been calling it HOH Rainforest for like 3 days now. Then we started to realize it's probably not the HOH Rainforest. It's probably the Hoh Rainforest, but I still call it the HOH Rainforest. I don't know what it is. We should have asked the people when we went in the visitor center. But today we're going to check out the rainforest. I was reading the paper about it when we came in the park. It says that there is 138 inches of
precipitation a year, which would
that
be...
That says like 12, it says they get like 12 plus feet of rain.
So what that would be is every 3 days is a whole inch of rain. That is like absolutely crazy.
So we're gonna do, there's a couple trails out here. There's one really long one. It's like 18.5 miles one way. We're not doing that one. There's one that's called the Hall of Mosses, and it is just like 0.8 miles. And then there's another one called Spruce Trail, and it's like 1.25 miles. So we're gonna try both of those today and check out the rainforest. It says these trees are over 200 feet tall. Look. Tell Daddy what you want to see. What do you want to see?
Elk.
Elk. We're looking for some elk. You want to see elk?
Elk.
Elk.
So inside this Hall of Mosses trail, it's really cool. There's a lot of maple trees. There's some other conifer kind of trees, but the maple trees have all of this club moss growing on it. Club moss doesn't actually harm the trees. It's just feeding on air and light that's coming through, and particles, moisture that's kind of floating through the air. So it doesn't actually harm the tree, but there is moss everywhere. Sydney had to touch it.
It's fuzzy.
It's like a fuzzy kind of...
I thought it would be like slimy or like gooey, but it's like fuzzy. It's so soft.
But it's also really, it almost feels like the redwoods. Their trees aren't as big. I mean, they're tall, but they're not like the redwoods. But it does have like this otherworldly feel where it's really green, birds chirping everywhere. There's trees growing over the whole, you're kind of under a canopy the whole time. It's just a really neat place. Definitely worth the mile hike. For how much did we pay? Oh yeah, it was free since it is a national park trail. And there's a lot of ferns here that are really cool. The moss and the trees. It's just really neat rainforest. But I hated to break it to Sydney, there are no monkeys or toucans in this rainforest.
Disappointed. No pet? Tell Daddy you're petting it.
Pet.
pet. Okay, so I don't know if y'all have seen these ferns or paid attention to these ferns, but they are huge. And I just keep seeing all these ferns and thinking, man, I wish I had ferns like this at my house. Mine are like those ferns that are like this big and they're terrible, but these ferns are beautiful.
All right, so I had a rookie move today. I forgot to charge my camera, my big camera battery. I told Sydney to remind me, then I forgot, she forgot. It's not her fault, but it is a fault of ours, I guess. I forgot to charge the battery, so
No,
I'm gonna be shooting.
No fault of ours, fault of his.
Okay, so it's my fault. But we are gonna be shooting on the GoPro, so if the audio is not quite as good or if it's shakier or anything like that, I do apologize. It is my fault, so my bad. It's even cooler that way. Alright, so behind me you can see a log that has fallen in the woods. They call these a nurse log. What a nurse log is where a tree, an older tree, falls or just one gets snapped in the wind or something happens to it and it falls down in the woods. It helps all the other life at the bottom of the floor start growing. Basically what happens is the canopy is so thick that not a lot of sunlight, not a lot of nutrition, not a lot of water and that kind of stuff makes it to the bottom. And what does is sucked up by the trees that are more established. So whenever a tree falls, it kind of gives a leg up, a kind of a boost to the plants that are trying to grow on the forest floor. Things like hemlock and spruce and these ferns and a lot of the clovers and that sort of stuff that are growing. It gives them an advantage because now they can suck the nutrients, the water, the moisture and all that kind of stuff out of that fallen tree and kind of gives them a leg up. So they're able to grow and flourish even though they don't have the same kind of sustenance, the same kind of root structure, the same height as these taller trees do. Alright, so we just ate some lunch. I enjoyed the Hall of Mosses hike for the first one, ate a little lunch, and now we're going to go on the Spruce Trail, which goes down by the creek and down by the river.
So we're halfway down the Spruce Nature Trail, and the halfway point is the Hoh or H-O-H River. It drives me crazy that I don't know what the name of it is. I'll figure it out and let y'all know. But we are at the river and it is beautiful. Just the mountains in the background and just the flow of the river. It's just really, really pretty.
Now this is really cool. There are roots into this. Okay, this is a tree that's fallen down. It's got a huge root ball, but in that root ball there are other roots for trees that are growing at the top of it now. There's these trees that are growing at the top and they have roots coming all the way through that root ball all the way to the ground. That's probably a good 12 to 15 foot up there that root is dropping down. All right, so we just finished both of the hikes here. We did the Hall of Mosses and the Spruce Trail. Hall of Mosses was definitely a cooler hike. It's just more of a different look, more of the rainforest look to it. We also had more energy then, and it wasn't as hot then either than when we did Spruce Trail. Spruce Trail, you do see the water, which is nice. If I had to choose one of the two, I would definitely do the Hall of Mosses instead of Spruce Trail. But they're both worth doing. What do you think?
I think someone told me it was supposed to be 63 degrees today, and it was 93 degrees today.
It wasn't 93. It was 76 degrees.
We
today.
had one bottle of water
and a Sprite and tea. So and Callie started drinking our tea at lunch and backwashed so bad in it. Like you can see particles of chips and stuff. So we did lose the tea. Thank God we've got 3 gallons of Milo sweet tea. Sydney found some Milos right as we crossed into Washington, and she has stocked up on it.
So today we got to Forks, Washington, and I've been so excited to come here. I mean, it's the smallest town. The population is like 3,500 people. But I've been so excited to come here because this is the place that the Twilight movie was shot. Not the actual place where it was shot, but this is where it was set, in Forks, Washington. And I love the Twilight movies. And I know it makes me sound like a teenage girl, but I don't even care because I love the Twilight movies. So here we are in Forks, Washington, and we are about to take you on a tour. The Twilight tour. Okay, so here we are. This is Bella Swan's truck from Twilight. This is the one that is in the movies. There's two trucks actually here. This is the one that everyone's gonna recognize from the movies. She loved her truck in Twilight. I'm just so excited to be here seeing these. And then the red one over here, this one is the one from the book. So if you've ever read the books, this is what the truck is described as, rather than the orange one that's in the movies. These are here at the visitor center in Forks. So these are like the main attractions. Like if people are coming here, these are right here in the front of the visitor center. It's really cool. Okay, so our second stop on the tour is here at Forks High School. This is not actually where Bella and Edward went to school at. This is where it's based off of. So they recreated this sign from Forks High School here in Forks and used it in the movie. So it's kind of cool that you recognize the sign from the high school. The high school in the movie is way bigger than this one, but it was based off of this one here in Forks. Kind of cool. Okay, so our third stop on our Twilight tour. My Twilight tour map brought me to Bella Swan's house. It said, drive by, take a picture of the sign out front. It looks just like the Swan house in the movie. I don't think so. Next stop. Okay, so here we are at our fourth stop on the tour, and it is the Forks Hospital where Dr. Cullen, which is Edward's dad, works in the movie Twilight. It's kind of cool. Obviously the hospital looks nothing like this. This is just the hospital that it's based off of in Forks. So now we're at LaPush, and this is the beach where, in the movie Twilight, where Jacob brings Bella to tell her about the Cold Ones and about his ancestors and his tribe and stuff like that. It's just kind of cool. This is also the beach where the cliffs are, where they go cliff diving. The wolves and Bella goes also. So a lot of people come down here for that reason, because this is the main beach where the movie Twilight takes place. Okay, so we're here at the treaty line. This is the line where it splits. Vampires stay on this side, werewolves stay on this side. And let's go ahead and get this straight. I'm Team Edward all the way. So we're gonna stay on this side of the treaty line. This town is really, I'm just reading up on it and stuff like that, they have completely and totally embraced the Twilight theme here. Annually, they have a Twilight Festival, which is on Bella's birthday, which is September 13th. So around that weekend, they have a festival here, which is one of their huge deals. But they have restaurants that have Twilight themed menus. They have hotels that have Twilight themed bedrooms. They have, hotel rooms. They have Twilight brochures everywhere. There's Twilight signs all over the place. They have just like completely embraced the Twilight theme. So it's kind of really cool, kind of funny. The only thing that I could hope to be better than this is when I get to Seattle next week, that Seattle has done the same thing for Grey's Anatomy. I'm so excited to see if they have. I doubt it, but I'm definitely going to be looking for it.
Well, the second region that we're visiting in Olympic National Park is the beach. We're over here in LaPush. There's several different places. LaPush and Ruby Beach are both two of the more popular beach access places. But the national park does come over here. There's a gap where Forks is, and then some other kind of towns and places where people live, just kind of like communities that aren't part of the national park. But then the national park picks back up at the beach and runs a long ways up the shoreline here, protecting a large part of the shoreline. Now, it's a very rocky shoreline. Lots of, you probably see out there some of the rocks that are out there, kind of islands and jetty kind of things. There's lots of wood that's washed up on shore. As you can see behind me here, the tide is up right now, so we're probably going to come back tomorrow to do any real beach combing. But the second zone of Olympic National Park is the beach.